The next one is the hinge joint. So what is a hinge joint? Open and close a door a few times. So you notice a door, when you open and close a door, what happens? There will be a joint in between, isn't it? So door has a joint. This joint, it is nothing but the hinge of the doors. So these allow the door to move back and forth. So here there will be few joints in the door. So these are the hinges. Those are the screws which you see on your door. Those are the hinges. So that only allows the door to move front and back. So why are we discussing about this? What is the relation between the door and this hinges and this joint? Let us see. If you learn this, if you read this, if you understand this activity 3, you will understand the concept of the door as well. So the next activity is activity 3. Let us look at the kind of movement allowed by the hinge. Make a cylinder with a cardboard or thick chart paper as shown in figure 8.4. Attach a small pencil to the cylinder in the clear picture. So feel the bones in your forearms, upper arm, lower legs and upper legs. You can feel these bones. Try to find out the number of bones in each part. So similarly, feel the bones of your ankle and knee joints and compare these with the X-ray images. So here what we can do, we can imagine and we can see and feel our bones at the ankle and your knee and compare them in your X-ray images. Now next one, what we are going to do is bend your fingers. Are you able to bend them at every joint? So just bend your fingers and see, are you able to bend your fingers in every joint? How many bones does your middle finger have? Feel the back of your palm. It seems to have many bones, isn't it? Is your wrist flexible? Is it made up of several small bones called carpals? What will happen if it has only one bone? So what happens here is you are able to bend your fingers. So how is that we are able to bend our fingers? As you can see in this, you have many joints, as we have discussed. If there are joints present in the bones, in between the bones, then only there is a possibility of bending and stretching our fingers in any direction which it allows to. So these small bones together, they are called as carpals. So these carpals are present at the hand on your fingers. So let us look into the next activity, that is the activity 4. And take a deep breath and hold it for a little while. So while your chest bone and the backbone by gently pressing the middle of the chest and back at the same time. So here we are asked to take a deep breath and hold it for a little while. Then what we are going to do after holding it for a little while, you are going to feel your chest bone and the backbone by gently pressing them with your middle finger, and by just middle of your chest you have to press and see, and back of the at your back at the same time you need to press and check. So count as many rib bones. Okay, so what happens here is you are able to count the ribs as many as possible. So when you hold your breath, you can start counting the bones which will be which you are able to feel it in this way. So this one is nothing but the rib cage. Why it is given a name like that is because it looks like a cage, and this is a rib cage. So observe figure 8.10 carefully and compare with what you feel at the chest bone. So we see that the ribs are curiously bent. They join the chest bone and the backbone together to form a box. This is called the rib cage. As you can see here, we can see that these are the ribs, and this is the chest bone, and this is your backbone. This is the backbone, and this is your chest bone, and this is the ribs. So this together, it is forming like a cage, and this is known as rib cage. There are 12 ribs on each side of your chest. So these, if you start counting, there are 12 on each side. So one rib, these are 12 ribs at one each place. Some important internal organs of a body lies protected inside this cage. So important organs such as heart, lungs are protected inside this rib cage. If this wouldn't have been there, then when we fall, there are chances that we will hurt our internal organs. So this rib cage is protecting our internal organs from any kind of injury. Ask some friends to touch their toes without bending their knees. So with many of you, I think not all of us, but most of us can bend and touch the toes without bending the knees, but mostly most of us, we cannot do it. If we try to bend, for sure sometime at some point our knees will surely bend. So starting from the neck, move your fingers downwards on the back of your friend. So what we are going to do is, when your friend is going to bend, what you are going to do, you will as soon as they will bend, what you are going to do is, you are going to start and from the neck you're going to move your fingers downwards on the back of your friend, not in front but on the back side. So what you feel is the backbone. When they will bend and when you will touch and feel with your fingers, that is nothing but the backbone. So it is made up of many small bones called the vertebrae. So the bone which you can feel behind, this is the backbone. So these are the vertebrae which you can see. These are the butterfly kind of bones. They are 33 vertebrae which is present on the backbone, and these are known as these small bones are called together as vertebrae. The backbone consists of 33 vertebrae. So these are arranged one above the other, and these kind of bones which are one above the other are nothing but 33 bones. The rib cage is joined to these bones. So the rib cage, as you can see, this rib cage, this is the vertebrae and this is the rib cage. These both are joined together. If backbone was made up of only one long bone, will your friend be able to bend? So if this bone would have been individually kept without the if it wouldn't have been joined to a rib cage, do you think your friend would have been able to bend? No, it is not possible. If it wouldn't have been joined to the rib cage, then the movement of bending and all wouldn't have taken place. If backbone was made up of only one long bone, will a friend be able to move or bend? Make your friend stand with both hands pressed to the wall and ask her to push the wall. So we can ask your friend or anyone to push lift the hands, and they can, with both the hands, they have to press the wall. And after they press, what you do observe or what do you notice is, the bone on the back are prominently where the shoulders are. So when they press, what happens, you can see this, you can feel and touch their shoulder bones behind. There will be one bone coming out, popping out. That is nothing but the shoulder bone. So that bone is called as the shoulder bone. When your friend is pressing their hand on the wall, and when you can see the bone which is popping out from the sides, that is nothing but the shoulder bone. So observe figure 8.13 carefully. This structure is made of pelvic bone. So this is the pelvic bone. They enclose the portion of your body below the stomach. This is the part you sit on. So because of the help of this pelvic bone only, we are able to sit. We are able to sit erect. We are able to sit properly. And what here is this bone is below the portion of your stomach, below your stomach. So wherever your stomach will be, there below portion, that is nothing but this pelvic bone. So the next bone is the skull. Let us look into the skull. So the skull is made up of many bones joined together. So figure 8.14, as you can see, this is the skull. It encloses and protects a very important part of the body, that is the brain. So inside the skull, which is the important part of the body, is the nothing but the brain. So the brain is the major organ which is protected by the important organ which is protected by the skull. We discussed many bones and the joints of our skeleton. So here we have discussed many kinds of bones, and we have even discussed about the skeleton and different kinds of bones such as ball and socket, pivotal, rib cage, about the skeleton, about the carpals, about the shoulder bones, about the vertebrates, about the pelvic bone, about the skull. So there are some additional parts of the skeleton that are not as hard as the bone and which can be bent. These are called as the cartilages. So there are many bones in our body where we can even bend, and as ever we want we can bend them, and they are not hard, actually they are soft. So when we think about a bone, it is when we say bone means a clear image comes to us, that is a bone is nothing but a hard structure. But no, there is also a bone which is soft and which we can bend. That bone is called as the cartilage. So feel your ear. Do you find any hard bone parts that you can bend? So here when you feel your ear, you can see that there is a bone, isn't it? So there do not seem to be any bone here. So when you feel your ear, you don't be able to see that there is anything hard inside your ear, but still there is bone present. Do you notice anything different between the earlobe and the portion between it as you press them between your fingers? So you know what is a earlobe. This portion, the below portion, is nothing but the earlobe, and the upper part of your ear has this cartilage. This one, when you see, this is a cartilage. Here is the cartilage bone. If you feel it, you can see, you can touch, it is very soft and you can bend them. Do you feel something in the upper part of the ear that is not as soft as the earlobe but not as hard as a bone, isn't it? So this is a cartilage. Cartilage is also found in the joints of the body. So earlobe, how it is, you can press, you can pinch, you can pierce in them, and you will not see any bone present on your earlobe. Whereas when you touch this upper portion, you will surely feel something little bit hard, but it is not too hard. If you press, it surely bends, it surely presses, and it is not very soft, it is not very hard. That is nothing but the cartilage. And this cartilage is not only present in your ear but even at the joints of the body. We have seen that a skeleton is made up of many bones, joints and cartilage. You could feel, bend and move many of them. Draw a neat figure of the skeleton in your notebook. So here you know that many bones, we can joints and cartilage, we are able to feel them, we are able to bend them, and we are able to move them. And so here we are asked to draw a neat diagram of the skeleton in your notebook. We have learnt about the bones in our body and about joints that help us move in different ways. What makes the bone move the way they do? Let us find out. So we have learned about the bones in our body and about the joints that help us move in different ways. So what makes the bones move the way they want to? Let us find out. Make a fist with one hand, bend your arm to the elbow and touch your shoulder with the thumb. So here we are asked to make a fist, and then what we are asked to do is we are asked to bend your arm to the elbow and touch your shoulder with the thumb. Do you see any change in your upper arm? Touch it with the other hand. So if you make and see like that, what do you feel? So this is how we are asked to do. We are asked to make a fist and we are asked to bend our elbow and take a thumb and touch your shoulder. So what do you feel is you take another hand and touch and see your arm, this portion. So you observe a swollen region at your upper arm, isn't it? So this is nothing but the muscle. When you do like this and you touch and see this portion, that is when you will feel it really hard, isn't it? So that portion, the bulged one, that muscular one, the swollen one, that is nothing but the muscle. The muscle bulges due to the contraction. Contraction is nothing but it becomes smaller in length. Now bring your arm back to its normal position. So when you keep your arm in the normal position, what happens? What happens to the muscle? It is still contracted. It is looking still bulged. You can observe similar contraction of muscles in your leg when you walk or run. So this kind of contraction and expansion, when do you find? When you run or walk. When you run and walk, you can even feel this kind of motion, this kind of swollen region in your leg also. So when contracted, the muscle becomes shorter, stiffer and thick. So when this get contracted, this is the contraction, what happens here? The muscle will become shorter and it will become stiff and tight and thick, and it pulls the bones. So it will also pull the bone. When muscles work in pair, when one of them contracts, the bone is pulled in that direction. So when you can see here, the muscle, these are the two muscles, they work in pair, and the bone is also moving in the direction of the contraction. As you can see, the bone here, it is different. When it is relaxing, it is in relaxing position, here inclined, and here in this way. The other muscle of the pair relaxes to move the bone in the opposite direction. The relaxed muscle contracts to pull the bone towards its original position. When the first relaxes, a muscle can only pull, it cannot push. Thus, two muscles have to work together to move a bone. So as you can see here, these are the two muscles which are working in pair. So what happens here, when the contraction is taking place, the bone which is in a contracted way, this is in relaxation mode, and this is in a contraction. So the relaxed one will be in a relaxed position, and it will contracted one, it will pull the bone towards itself. As you can see, the bone is moving towards the upper one, isn't it? So this is the contracted, this is the relaxed muscle. So when it comes in the relaxation mode, what happens now? This upper one is going in a relaxation mode, and the down part which was in a relaxation mode, it is going in a contraction. Now when it was in this position, this one is attracting the bone towards it. When it is going in a relaxation position, the lower arm, the lower muscle is attracting the bone towards itself. So these work in pair. One is in a relaxing position, one is in a contraction position. So whoever is in a contracted position, it will attract the bone towards itself. And the one thing what we know is the muscle can only pull the bone, but they cannot push the bone. So they are pulling it towards themselves. As you can see, the contracted one is pulling, that is attracting towards itself, it is pulling towards itself, as you can see here and here, but it is not pushing. The relaxed one is not pushing, the contracted one is only attracting it. And so you can say that it will not push, but it can pull, and they work together to move a bone. So the bone is moving because of this muscle. Are muscles and bones always required for movement? How do the other animals move? Do all animals have bones? What about an earthworm and a snail? Let us study the manner of the movement that is the gait of some animals. So here we know that the muscles are the one which are moving the bones. So do you think all the animals, all the insects, they have bones, they have muscles? So this we are going to learn in the another part.